Welcome to Factopia, where today we officially confirm that common sense has left the building. From customers who think deer can read road signs to a woman who tried to return a mirror because it made her look tired, these complaints are so dumb you'll watch this entire video just to feel smarter. Number 1. A woman called a North Dakota radio station absolutely furious because deer kept running out in front of her car on busy highways. She demanded the city move the deer crossing signs to quieter residential streets or school zones so the deer would finally learn to cross in safer spots. She was 100% convinced the deer could read the signs and were just choosing the dangerous places on purpose. The station aired the call for years as comedy gold, while deer everywhere continued their illiterate rampage. Number 2. A guy stormed into a craft store and slammed an empty bottle of invisible ink on the counter, screaming that he'd been scanned because there was literally nothing inside. The cashier blinked twice and explained that invisible ink is, well, invisible. He doubled down, insisting the bottle should at least feel heavier or come with fake-colored water to prove something was in there. He walked out with a full refund and zero self-awareness. Number 3. A lady marched back into Costco clutching a rotisserie chicken that had been picked clean to the bone and announced it tasted way too much like chicken. When the employee asked what she was expecting, she said something more seasoned, maybe barbecue or herb-crusted. Costco handed her money back on the spot because their return policy is apparently stronger than common sense. The chicken gave its life for nothing. Number 4. A man walked straight into a brand new, spotlessly clean glass door at a showroom, bounced off like a cartoon character, then turned around livid and demanded the store pay his medical bills because the glass was dangerously invisible. The salesman offered free warning decals and he refused because it would ruin the modern look. He sued the glass company for making glass too good at its job and lost spectacularly. Number 5. A woman called 911 in full meltdown because the Burger King drive-thru ran out of lemonade. When officers arrived, she screamed that she had already paid and they tried to substitute Sprite, which was basically theft and a hostage situation. The cops escorted her off the property while she yelled about injustice. She later left a 1-star review titled "Worst Kidnapping I've Ever Survived." Number 6. A woman called a pest control company because her house was haunted by ants that only come out when she's baking. The technician arrived, watched her sprinkle flour on the counter, and the ants appeared instantly. He pointed out she was literally drawing them a treasure map in sugar and crumbs every time she cooked. She paid the full service call and left him a tip for exorcising the sugar demons. Number 7. A man returned a kiddie pool to Walmart in August because the water kept getting hot. He had set the bright blue pool in direct Arizona sun, filled it with cold water, and came back hours later furious that it felt like a hot tub. He demanded a refund because the advertising never said it would cook my kids like lobsters. Number 8. A lady left a 1-star review for a hot air balloon ride in Cappadocia complaining that the landing was way too bumpy and uncontrolled. She wrote that for the price she paid, she expected the pilot to park it gently like an airplane at a gate instead of drifting wherever the wind decided. The company's reply: "We have filed your feedback with the wind." Number 9. A customer called a car dealership because his new truck smelled funny when it rained. The salesman asked him to describe the smell, like wet dog, but worse. Turns out he had bought a used former K9 unit and never noticed the giant police dog vehicle stickers that had been peeled off. The dog hair in the vents was still winning. Number 10. A woman tried to return a box of tampons to Target because they didn't work. When the cashier asked what happened, she whispered that she inserted one and still got her period anyway. The cashier explained they prevent leaks, not the period itself. She stared blankly, then yelled loud enough for the entire store to hear. "So you are telling me I still have to bleed?" False advertising. Number 11. A woman called a bakery in absolute panic because the 12 donuts she ordered only came in one box. She screamed that she specifically asked for a dozen donuts for her office party and they only gave her 12. When the baker explained that a dozen means 12, she went dead silent for 10 seconds, then whispered, "You people have been lying to me my whole life." She still took the free extra donut apology box. Number 12. A man returned a pair of binoculars to REI, claiming they were defective because when he zoomed in on the moon, it was still far away and looked exactly the same as with his naked eye. He demanded a refund because these don't bring the moon closer like the box promised. The employee asked if he wanted a telescope instead. He said, "No, I want binoculars that actually work." Number 13. A lady left a 1-star review for a haunted house attraction because none of the actors scared her. She wrote that she paid good money to be terrified and walked through the entire thing completely unfazed, demanding a refund because your ghosts are lazy and need to try harder. Management replied, "Congratulations, you have survived the apocalypse." Number 14. A customer called a tire shop furious that his brand new all-season tires turned into winter tires overnight. He explained that he woke up to snow, went outside, and the tires were suddenly covered in white stuff and wouldn't move. Turns out he had parked under a tree full of bird poop that froze solid. He still blamed the tires for attracting the snow. Number 15. A woman tried to return a positive pregnancy test to CVS because it gave me the wrong answer. She insisted the test was clearly broken since she and her boyfriend only had sex once and the odds of that working are like 1 in a million. The pharmacist handed her a pamphlet on biology instead of a refund. Number 16. A woman called a fishing store in tears because the guaranteed fish attractor liquid she poured into her swimming pool didn't bring a single fish. She had dumped the entire bottle in, waited 3 days, and was furious the pool wasn't teeming with bass like the bottle promised. When the owner explained it was meant for lakes, she yelled, "Then why doesn't it say not for chlorine? My kids wanted to fish in the backyard." She returned the empty bottle for a full refund and left a review, 0 fish, 0 stars. Number 17. A man returned a smoke detector screaming that it only beeps when there's smoke and never just to check in. He wanted the deluxe version that randomly beeps throughout the day, so I know it still loves me. The cashier said, "Sir, that's called an alarm clock." He bought one and came back the next day complaining it didn't detect smoke. Number 18. A lady left a 1-star review for a luxury resort in the Maldives because the ocean had fish in it. She wrote that she paid thousands to swim in clear water and kept getting freaked out by fish brushing her legs, demanding the resort install a fish-free zone or nets like a proper pole. The hotel replied, "We have forwarded your complaint to the ocean." Number 19. A customer called a car dealership because his new SUV kept beeping when he backed up. The salesman asked if anything was behind him. "Of course not, that's why it's beeping, it's broken." Turns out he had never heard of a reverse sensor and spent 2 weeks convinced his $70,000 car was possessed. Number 20. A woman tried to return a mirror to Target claiming it was haunted. Every morning it showed her looking 10 years older and more tired than the night before. She demanded a new one that shows the improved version, not this tired hag. The cashier turned the mirror around. She screamed and dropped it. Number 21. A woman called a moving company because the crew left gravity on after they moved her piano to the 2nd floor. She swore the piano felt twice as heavy once it was upstairs and demanded they come back and turn the gravity down or give her a discount for the extra weight. The dispatcher still has the voicemail saved as the ringtone of regret. Number 22. A man returned a bag of charcoal to Home Depot because it wouldn't stay lit in the rain. He had tried to barbecue during a thunderstorm, got mad when the coals went out, and drove straight back soaking wet, yelling that the bag should say indoor use only if it can't handle a little weather. He left with a full refund and a free poncho he never asked for. Number 23. A lady left a 1-star review for the Eiffel Tower because it's full of tourists and you can't get a decent photo without people in it. She demanded the city install turnstiles and time slots like Disneyland so she could have the entire tower to herself for selfies. Pears responded by adding her review to the gift shop fridge magnets. Number 24. A customer called a locksmith at 2 a.m. because he locked his keys inside his running car with the engine on and the AC blasting. The locksmith arrived in 8 minutes, unlocked it in 10 seconds, and the guy screamed, 18 minutes. I've been sweating my life away. He refused to pay the emergency fee because real heroes would have teleported. Number 25. A woman tried to return a positive COVID test to Walgreens because it ruined her vacation. She waved the little plastic stick like a broken toy and demanded a new one that would say negative this time. When the pharmacist said tests don't work that way, she yelled, then stopped selling lies, and stormed out, still contagious and still furious. Number 26. A woman called a carpet store hysterical because the stain-proof carpet she bought 6 months ago now had a giant red wine stain that wouldn't come out. When the manager asked if she had used the included stain remover, she said, "Of course not. It's stain-proof, not stain remover requiring." She demanded a brand new carpet because your advertising lied to my lifestyle. Number 27. A man returned a ceiling fan claiming it was blowing the wrong way. The employee flipped the reverse switch and the air immediately went downward. The guy stared in pure awe, then asked if the store could send someone to his house every season to flip the magic switch because he wasn't paying for a fan that required manual witchcraft. Number 28. A lady left a 1-star review for the Great Wall of China because it's not actually that great, you can't even see it from space like everyone says. She demanded her entrance fee back because the wall failed to live up to the urban legend she brought with her instead of doing 5 seconds of research. Number 29. A customer called a pizza place 30 minutes after delivery screaming that his pizza was cut into 8 slices instead of the 12 he clearly ordered. When the manager pulled up the order and confirmed it was 8, the guy yelled, "Exactly, I can't eat 8 slices. I can only eat 12. He got a free large pizza." Math is dead. Number 30. A woman tried to return a pack of AA batteries because they died after only 2 years in the remote. She was furious the package didn't say eternal life and demanded the store switch to nuclear-powered batteries like in the movies. When the cashier said batteries have a shelf life, she whispered, "So you're telling me everything in this store eventually dies? I want to speak to the manager of mortality." Number 31. A woman called a library in absolute fury because the book she borrowed ended on a cliffhanger and the second volume wasn't on the shelf. She demanded the library pay for her Uber to the nearest bookstore because you can't just leave a customer hanging like that. This is emotional abuse. The librarian offered to put the sequel on hold. She hung up and left a Google review. Worst hostage situation since Game of Thrones. Number 32. A man returned a brand new barbecue grill because it rusted after 1 use. The employee looked inside and found it full of seawater and sand. The guy explained he took it to the beach, grilled fish right on the shore, and a wave came in. He was livid the grill wasn't ocean-proof. It's stainless steel, and steel doesn't rust in salt water. Number 33. A lady left a 1-star review for the Leaning Tower of Pisa complaining that it's crooked and looks like it's about to fall over. She wrote that for the entrance fee she expected a straight, normal tower like in the pictures and demanded a refund because this one is clearly defective. Italy is still laughing. Number 34. A customer called a phone store because his iPhone battery kept dying at 1% no matter how many times he charged it. The genius bar tech took one look, turned the phone over, and peeled off the screen protector that had been stuck on the camera lens for 2 years. The guy had been using the black sticker as his wallpaper and never noticed. Number 35. A woman tried to return a half-eaten birthday cake to Costco because the candles melted all over it and ruined the frosting. When the employee pointed out that candles melt when lit, she said, "Well, nobody warned me fire is hot. This is a fire hazard." Costco gave her a new cake. The old one still had the burnt happy 40th letters swimming in wax. Number 36. A woman bought a brand new RV, set the cruise control to 70 miles per hour, then got up from the driver's seat to go make a sandwich in the back because the salesman told her it had cruise control and she thought that meant autopilot. She crashed into a ditch, sued the RV manufacturer for not warning her in the manual that you still have to steer, and somehow won $1.75 million from a sympathetic jury. Somewhere, Darwin is filing an appeal. Number 37. A man returned a set of winter tires to Canadian Tire because they were completely bald after one season. When the manager pointed out the tires were summer performance tires with almost no tread to begin with, the guy exploded. "I paid extra for premium snow tires." Why didn't they defend themselves against the snow? He left, threatening to sue Michelin for false advertising. Number 38. A lady called an animal shelter sobbing that the free goldfish she adopted 2 days ago had died. When the worker asked what happened, she said she took it out of the bowl to play with it on the carpet and it just stopped moving. She demanded a new fish and a bigger bowl so the next one has more room to play outside the water. Number 39. A customer tried to return a flashlight to Walmart claiming it was defective because it only worked when it was dark. She demonstrated by turning it on in the brightly lit store and screamed when nothing visible happened. "See, broken." The cashier turned off the lights for 2 seconds. The lady went silent, then whispered, "Oh, witchcraft." Number 40. A woman filed a formal complaint with Yellowstone National Park because the animals were running around loose with no leash or cages and clearly hadn't been trained. She was horrified that bison walked right up to her car and demanded rangers put them back in their pens at night like a proper zoo. Number 41. A woman sued Pepsi after finding a dead mouse in her can of Mountain Dew. Pepsi's defense team proved in court that the soda's extreme acidity would have dissolved a mouse into jelly after just weeks, meaning it would have had to be added after the can left the factory. The judge threw out the case, but not before the woman spent years swearing she was the victim of a corporate cover-up. Turns out she was just trying to scam free Pepsi for life. Number 42. A customer bought a brand new fish tank, filled it with water, added tropical fish, then called the pet store in a panic because all the fish were dead the next morning. When asked if she used dechlorinator, she said, "No, I used regular tap water like normal people do." When told tap water chlorine kills fish instantly, she replied, "Well, nobody told me fish were so high maintenance." She returned the dead fish for store credit. Number 43. A man called tech support furious because his computer kept saying check the cable connection every time he tried to go online. The support guy walked him through everything until he finally asked, "Sir, is your computer actually plugged into the modem?" Silence, then, "Oh my god, I've been using Wi-Fi this whole time." He had been trying to connect via an Ethernet cable that wasn't plugged into anything for 3 months. Number 44. A woman left a 1-star review for a 5-star hotel in Austria because the stars were too bright and kept her awake. She complained that there was too much light pollution from the night sky in the Alps and demanded the hotel install blackout curtains strong enough to block the Milky Way. Management responded, "We're sorry the universe disturbed your stay." Number 45. A guy returned a set of snow chains to an auto parts store in perfect condition, still in the box, claiming they didn't work. When the employee asked what happened, he said he put them on his front-wheel drive car, drove through a blizzard, and got stuck anyway. His conclusion: these chains are defective, they only help the front wheels. Number 46. A woman walked into a pet store, bought a bag of crickets for her lizard, then came back 2 hours later furious and shaking the empty bag. She screamed that every single cricket had escaped in her car on the drive home and now her vehicle was infested. When the employee asked why she opened the bag in the car, she said, "How else was I supposed to count them to make sure you didn't short me?" The crickets are still living their best life in her Honda Civic. Number 47. A man called Dell tech support because his brand new laptop kept shutting down by itself. The tech walked him through every possible fix until he finally asked the guy to read the exact error message. The customer went silent for a full minute, then whispered, "It says, lid closed." He had been balancing the laptop on his knee and closing the screen every time he leaned forward. Number 48. A lady left a 1-star Google review for the Grand Canyon because there were no guardrails at the edge and someone could fall in. She wrote that Disney would never allow something this dangerous and demanded the National Park Service install safety glass around the entire rim so families could enjoy the view without risking death. Number 49. A customer returned an unopened box of condoms to Walmart claiming they didn't work because his girlfriend still got pregnant. When the cashier explained that the box was still sealed and shrink-wrapped, he said, "Exactly. I didn't want to open it until I was sure they were effective." He left with a full refund and the same girlfriend. Number 50. A woman called a garden center in absolute tears because the butterfly kit she ordered only came with caterpillars. She screamed that she paid for butterflies and got worms instead, and now her kids were traumatized by the ugly larvae. She demanded an immediate shipment of actual butterflies or her money back. The employee tried explaining metamorphosis. She hung up and left a review titled "False Advertising Sent Maggots." Number 51. A man called his internet provider screaming that his Wi-Fi stopped working the second he walked into his basement. The tech asked him to try it upstairs again and it magically came back. He lost it. See, it only works near the router. You sold me defective long-range Wi-Fi. He demanded they send a technician to extend the signal through concrete like it says in the ads. Number 52. A woman returned a sun lamp to a beauty store because it gave her a tan. She was furious. "I sat under it for 2 hours and now I'm brown. I wanted like therapy, not a fake bake." When the employee explained that UV-free lamps exist, but she bought the tanning model, she said, "Then why does it look exactly like the therapy ones? This is a trap." Number 53. A customer tried to return a half-used bag of birdseed because the birds in my yard won't eat it. The store clerk asked what kind of birds she had. She said pigeons and sparrows. The bag was clearly labeled hummingbird nectar mix, sugar water only. She still wanted her money back because birds are birds. Number 54. A lady left a 1-star review for a hotel in Iceland complaining that the northern lights never showed up during her 3-night stay. She demanded a partial refund because the aurora forecast was part of the reason she booked and Mother Nature clearly underdelivered on the advertised light show. The hotel's response: "We'll have a word with the sky." Number 55. A man bought a brand new chainsaw, used it to cut firewood for an entire winter, then returned it dull and covered in sap claiming it stopped working halfway through the season. When the manager pointed out the chain was worn to nubs, he said, "That's your job to sharpen it. I just paid for a working saw." He got a full refund because the store's policy had no common sense clause. Number 56. A woman called a small-town hardware store in absolute hysterics because the bag of Grow Anywhere grass seed she planted in her living room still hadn't sprouted after 611 days. She had spread it wall-to-wall on her carpet, watered it daily, and was furious the grass wasn't growing indoors under a 60-watt bulb. When the owner explained grass needs sunlight and actual soil, she yelled, "Your bag literally says it grows anywhere." Number 57. A man returned a perfectly good space heater to Target because it blew cold air. The employee flipped it around, showed him the intake vent on the back, and explained that's how heaters work. He stared for a solid 10 seconds, then whispered, "So you're telling me it's sucking in cold air and turning it hot?" That's black magic. He bought more just in case. Number 58. A customer left a 1-star review for a scenic cliffside restaurant in Norway complaining that the view was ruined by all the stupid ocean in the way. She wrote that the fjord was too big and blocked the mountains, and management should do something about the water level before tourists waste their money. Number 59. A lady called an exterminator because her house was infested with baby spiders. The guy arrived, took one look, and told her those were normal spiderlings that had just hatched. She demanded he kill the mother spider for revenge. He pointed out the mother was already dead in the corner. She still paid him $180 and left him a 5-star review titled "Best Spider Murder Ever." Number 60. A man tried to return a printer to Best Buy because it kept telling him to replace the ink after only printing 50 pages. He screamed that the salesman never warned him ink runs out like gas and that printers should come with lifetime refills like his old typewriter ribbon did in 1973. He left yelling that the entire industry is a scam. Number 61. A woman called a veterinary clinic in tears because her dog stopped working after she gave it a bath with her brand new dishwasher tablets. She explained she read online that they were super concentrated and eco-friendly, so one tablet should clean anything, including a golden retriever. The vet saved the dog. She still asked for a refund on the tablets because they weren't pet-safe like advertised. Number 62. A man returned a digital thermometer to a pharmacy screaming that it was broken because it showed different temperatures every time he used it. He demonstrated armpit 98.6, mouth 98.8, forehead 97.9. C. It can't make up its mind. The pharmacist took his temperature rectally. 98.6. He went silent, then whispered, "So you're saying the location matters." Number 63. A customer left a 1-star review for a safari lodge in South Africa because the lions just slept all day and ignored the jeep. She wrote that for the price she paid, she expected at least one lion to roar on command or pose for photos like in a zoo. Management replied, "We have reminded the lions of their contractual obligations." Number 64. A lady called a plumbing company because her toilet was making scary noises at night. The plumber arrived, flushed it once, and heard nothing. She insisted it only happened at 3 a.m. He came back at 3 a.m., flushed it, and heard her husband snoring through the pipes from the bedroom above. She still paid the emergency call-out fee. Number 65. A man tried to return a used pregnancy test to Target because it gave a positive result and ruined his weekend plans. When the cashier explained that pregnancy tests are single-use and non-returnable, he said, "But it's defective. My girlfriend isn't supposed to be pregnant." He left the test on the counter and walked out. Number 66. A woman called a pest control company because her kitchen was crawling with hundreds of ants every morning. The technician showed up, followed the trail, and found an open box of Frosted Flakes on the counter with a perfect and highway leading straight into it. She gasped and said, "Oh my god, they're attracted to my cereal? I thought ants only ate crumbs." She still paid $150 for the guy to move the box to a sealed container. Number 67. A man returned a GPS unit screaming that it was sexist and bossy. Every time he missed a turn, the voice calmly said recalculating in a female tone, and he took it as judgment. He demanded a male voice that would just give directions without the attitude. Garmin sent him a free update. He came back the next week because the male voice sounded too gay to trust. Number 68. A lady left a 1-star review for Niagara Falls complaining that it was way too wet and loud. She wrote that she got soaked from the mist even standing on the observation deck and demanded the park service turn the water down on weekdays so people could enjoy the view without raincoats. Canada is considering building her a dome. Number 69. A customer called a furniture store because the new leather couch he bought sweats when people sit on it. Turns out he lived in Florida, had the AC broken for weeks, and the sweat was condensation from humid air hitting cold leather. He still demanded a refund because couches aren't supposed to cry when you sit on them. Number 70. A woman tried to return a box of condoms because they were too big and kept falling off. When the cashier explained sizing, she said, "No, I bought the Magnum ones like my boyfriend asked, and they're huge. He must have self-esteem issues." She exchanged them for regular and left a review. Finally found ones that fit reality. Number 71. A woman called a vet in full-blown meltdown because her cat stopped purring forever after she gave it a relaxing bubble bath with her new lavender-scented dish soap. She sobbed that the cat used to purr all the time and now it just stares at her like she murdered its soul. The vet saved the cat from chemical burns. She still asked if the soap company offered refunds for ruining her emotional support animal's personality. Number 72. A man returned his stud finder screaming that it was homophobic. Every time he ran it across the wall, it beeped like crazy over the studs. but when he held it against himself, it stayed silent. He yelled, "See, it can't even find a real man." The cashier took the tool, held it against the wall, and said, "Sir, you're not made of wood." He left muttering about a class action lawsuit. Number 73. A lady left a 1-star review for Stonehenge because it's literally just a bunch of old rocks in a field. She paid £25 to see the most magical place in England and got a circle of stones with no gift shop inside them. She demanded English heritage add lights, music, and maybe a Starbucks so it feels worth the hype. Druids are still roasting marshmallows over her review. Number 74. A customer called a hardware store because the easy open paint he bought required a screwdriver to pry the lid off. He was livid. It says easy open right on the label. I shouldn't need tools to open a tool-related product. He returned the can unopened and got a full refund plus a free paint can opener he swore he'd never use on principle. Number 75. A woman tried to return a positive pregnancy test to a pharmacy because it lied to me twice. She took the test, got to pink lines, panicked, took another one an hour later, and got the exact same result. She waved both sticks at the pharmacist yelling, "These are clearly from a bad batch, send them back to the factory." The pharmacist handed her a congratulations card instead of a refund. Number 76. A woman called a funeral home in absolute rage because the casket she picked for her husband didn't come with air holes. She screamed that he was claustrophobic when he was alive and now he's probably panicking down there. The director calmly explained that dead people don't breathe. She paused, then whispered, "So you're telling me I paid extra for the deluxe model and he is not even using the legroom?" Number 77. A man returned a brand new telescope because when he pointed it at his neighbor's window, the image was upside down. He yelled that for $800 he expected privacy mode that flips the picture right side up automatically. When the clerk showed him the inverting lens that fixes it for $5, he refused. "I'm not paying extra just to make my spine look normal." Number 78. A lady left a 1-star review for the Dead Sea complaining that the water was way too salty and made her skin feel weird. She wrote that she couldn't even swim properly because she kept floating like a cork and demanded the Jordanian government add more fresh water so tourists can actually enjoy a proper bath. The sea is currently 10 times saltier just to spite her. Number 79. A customer called a sex shop furious because the extra-large condoms he bought still didn't fit. He stormed in waving the unopened box and yelled, "I measured, I'm definitely Magnum status." The clerk looked at the box, looked at him, and said, "Sir, these are for horses." He went silent, then asked if they had Magnum. Number 80. A man called the White House switchboard demanding they make the days longer in winter because he's tired of it getting dark at 4 p.m. and ruining his golf game. He left a voicemail saying Congress has had 200 years to fix seasonal tilt and it's time for executive action. The Secret Service added him to the harmless but hilarious list. Number 81. A woman called a helicopter tour company demanding a refund because during her Grand Canyon flight the pilot refused to hover inside the canyon so she could get better Instagram photos. She screamed that she paid $400 to be in the canyon, not just look at it from above like a peasant. When told FAA regulations exist, she yelled, "Tell the government my likes are more important than gravity." Number 82. A man returned a brand new refrigerator because it hummed the wrong note. He held up a tuning app on his phone showing the compressor was buzzing in B-flat and his kitchen was decorated in C major decor. He demanded they send a musically compatible model or retune the compressor like a piano. Frigidaire is allegedly hiring orchestras now. Number 83. A lady left a 1-star review for the Pyramids of Giza complaining that there's no elevator to the top. She wrote that for a wonder of the world, she expected at least a glass lift or an escalator because climbing all those steps in heels was discrimination against influencers. Egypt responded by adding a gift shop camel selfie station instead. Number 84. A customer called a scuba shop furious because the underwater camera he rented took blurry photos of fish. He surfaced yelling that the fish wouldn't pose or stay still and the camera should have an auto-freeze feature to make them stop swimming. He demanded a refund plus compensation for emotional trauma from ugly fish faces. Number 85. A woman tried to return her husband to the marriage counselor after 30 years because he still snores exactly like on day one. She waived the original wedding vows like a warranty and said it never mentioned permanent defects. I want an upgraded model or at least store credit for a quieter one. The counselor is still charging her double for creativity. Number 86. A woman called NASA's public hotline demanding they immediately dim the sun because her beach vacation photos were overexposed and all her selfies looked washed out. She screamed that taxpayers fund them, so the least they could do is install a giant dimmer switch on the sun for influencer season. NASA's official response tweet, working on it, currently negotiating with the thermonuclear reactor. Number 87. A man returned a $3,000 gaming PC because the fans sound like a helicopter and scare my cat. The tech flipped the case open, showed him the RGB lights set to strobe disco mode at 3000 RPM, and turned it to silent profile. The guy stared, then asked if they could make the fans whisper motivational quotes instead of spinning because my cat deserves positive vibes only. Number 88. A lady left a 1-star review for the Aurora Borealis because it showed up unannounced at 2 a.m. and woke the kids with all that glowing. She demanded Iceland install an off switch or at least a schedule so the sky doesn't just party whenever it feels like it. The Northern Lights have reportedly unionized and are refusing to appear for her ever again. Number 89. A customer called the mattress store because his new memory foam bed kept remembering his ex-girlfriend's side. Every night he rolled into a perfect body-shaped crater on the left and swore it smelled like her perfume. He demanded an exorcism or a forgetful mattress that wipes its memory after every sleep. The store offered a new one. He asked if they could burn the old one on YouTube for closure. Number 90. A woman tried to return her shadow to a department store because it follows me everywhere and copies everything I do. It's basically stalking. She stood in the returns line waving her arms trying to lose it under the fluorescent lights and yelled at the cashier, "See, even in here it won't leave me alone. I want a refund or at least a restraining order against physics." Number 91. A woman called a roofing company demanding they come remove the moon from her skylight. She swore every night the full moon lands right on her pillow and keeps her awake with its glowing. When the roofer explained it's 238,000 miles away, she yelled, "Then why does it fit perfectly in the window?" You installed the skylight wrong. Number 92. A man returned a 75-inch TV because the people inside were too small. He stood 2 feet from the screen yelling at the news anchors to come closer and swore the old tube TVS made everyone life-size. He demanded a refund or a magnifying glass attachment so Tom Brady looks 7 feet tall like he is supposed to. Number 93. A lady left a 1-star review for the Sahara Desert because there was sand everywhere and no one warned her. She wrote that for a top tourist destination she expected at least a concrete path or a sand vacuum service, and the camels smelled like they hadn't been washed since biblical times. Morocco is considering renaming it Koren's Beach. Number 94. A customer called a clock store furious that his new grandfather clock only chimes 12 times at noon and midnight. He wanted it reprogrammed to chime 500 times at 5 p.m. because that's when I get off work and deserve a proper celebration. He offered to pay extra if they could make it play We Are the Champions. Number 95. A woman tried to return her own reflection to a mirror store because it keeps copying me, and it's getting creepy. She stood in front of the display mirrors doing jumping jacks and screaming "Stop that!" at herself. When security escorted her out, she yelled, "Fine. Keep the stalker version, I am buying curtains." Number 96. A woman called a wine farm company threatening to sue because their turbines stole her breeze. She lived 5 miles away, swore her laundry used to dry in 2 hours flat, and now it takes forever since those giant fans started hogging all the wind. She demanded they turn the turbines toward her house on laundry days or pay her electric bill for the dryer. The company sent her a mini desk fan as a peace offering. She is framing the cease and desist. Number 97, a man returned a globe because Australia was upside down. He spun it furiously, yelling that the mapmakers clearly glued the continents on wrong and his kid was learning geography backward. When the clerk flipped the globe stand, he went dead silent, then whispered, "So the world's been trolling me my entire life?" Number 98, a lady left a 1-star review for the Panama Canal because the boats go too slow and there is no fast pass lane. She wrote that she paid to see ships magically rise and fall and instead had to wait 40 minutes in the heat like a commoner. She demanded Disney buy the canal and add animatronic pirates for entertainment while the locks fell. Number 99, a customer called a solar panel company because his new roof panels stopped working every night. He was livid that the sun went away and his electricity bill went up after dark. He demanded nocturnal panels that soak up moonlight or at least glow in the dark like they do in sci-fi movies. The tech is still laughing too hard to call him back. Number 100, a woman tried to return her tombstone to the monument shop because the engraving has the wrong death date. She was very much alive, waving the receipt and yelling that they carved 2025 instead of 2055, and now the universe thinks she is supposed to die this year. She demanded they sand it off before bad juju gets her. The engraver fixed it for free and threw in still kicking under the name.
That's all for today. Subscribe to Factopia for more amazing and bizarre facts. Stay curious and keep exploring.